Thin medium is at the bottom of the viscosity ladder we've been talking about. It's so liquid that you could be forgiven for thinking it might not be much use. But it actually deconstructs the heavy-bodied paints like Atelier Interactive or A2, makes them behave like a fluid paint, which means that you can do very fine detail you wouldn't be able to do any other way. And it's also useful for glazing and for putting out flat areas of even color. So I think you might find it's quite useful. If you have a heavy-bodied paint, particularly like Atelier Interactive or Atelier A2, having a thin medium can be a lot more useful than simply adding water to your paint when you want to thin it. So here I'm adding a lot of medium to a small amount of paint so that I've created a glaze, because I've got a painting that has a rather dull background that needs to be livened up. And a glaze is a situation where you can see through the layer of the paint that's being applied and you don't lose the image underneath. Here I'm using some burnt umber because the background hill needs to be set back a little bit. A thin medium is a good way of applying a glaze, and of course you can wipe it back if you want to. You can add water to it if you want to make it even thinner. It's a good idea to apply this thin medium in a horizontal position so it doesn't perhaps dribble down your painting. If you've got it on an easel, you've got to be a bit careful. That's what happens to a thick paint when you deconstruct it by adding thin medium for it, which actually does, I think deconstruct is the best word for it. It kind of liquefies the thick paint. Now, you can't do that with water. You can, of course, get to that viscosity with water, but you'd use a lot more water and you'd lose the intensity of the color. That's free flow. And of course, free flow just melts into the thin medium, and so does Joe Sonia. And you can do endless linear things. So whenever you need very fine detail, it's handy to have some thin medium around the place. So your paintings might end up having several different mediums used with the basic paint that you're using, no matter what that paint might happen to be. It gives you more versatility. Now, another warning here, if you want to paint on watercolor paper, stretch it first. You see what's happened to that green? The paint is puddled into creases in the paper because it's buckled. If it was stretched by taping the edges, it would be okay. I've just been a bit slovenly, I'm afraid. So it doesn't matter with slightly thicker paint, but if you thin it to a very fluid consistency, you do need to have a level surface. Thank you for watching all of this, and if you would like to have more information, please just go to our website.